Hey YouTube, what's happening? I want to do another video here on Illuminati secret language. If you have not seen my first video entitled Lindsey Williams and Secret Illuminati Language, go to the link below. Please take a look at that. It was about 13 minutes. It'll bring you up to speed on what I'm referring to here. For those of you that have seen my first video, this is my second. I had some good indicators the last couple of weeks. Wanted to share some things with you and just to jar your memories. The Illuminati communicate in different languages, signs, gestures, architecture, monuments, and the bottom line is that they foreshadow much, if not all, of what they do before they do it. They depict it in movies, they depict it in books, they depict it in phrases, gestures, all types of different things. But what I want to talk about today is a couple of different things that happened in the early parts of January. First of all, on the 6th of January, which was the pinnacle of this discussion here, the Congress actually read the Constitution in its entirety on the floor of the House. Wow. Okay, they've never done that in the 200 plus years of this country's history. And all of a sudden, on January 6th, they're going to do something that they've never done before in 200 plus years. That certainly got my attention. Got my attention immediately. Because on the surface, reading the Constitution doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. These guys are lawyers. They have PhDs. They're business people. They've read that Constitution 1,000 times. They know what's in it, word for word. And you mean to tell me that they're going to take time out of their day, they're going to take turns reciting different excerpts from the Constitution, piece by piece, and they're going to recite the whole thing on the floor of the House? No, there's something else going on. I mean, number one, it felt to me like it was a ritual. That's number one. Number two, what it felt like to me is it felt like a funeral. It had the stamp of approval from the background of just a general funeral. What happens in a funeral? People take turns getting up on stage, behind the pulpit, on the platform, and what do they say? They give a recital about what they thought about the deceased. They recite something. They take turns talking. Same as a funeral. I mean, that's how I'm going to interpret it. So let's just say, from that example, they are ritualistically celebrating the death of the deceased United States, because to read the Constitution doesn't make any sense. Let's look at what else happened on that day, because in my first video I said that timing is important. Timing is very, very important to these individuals. I mean, do you think, for example, that the Twin Towers looked like an 11 and that date 9/11 was coincidental? No. They're talking. Language, foreshadowing. They're keying you in, you know? Okay. What else happened on the 6th? On the 6th, Timothy Geithner wrote a letter to the Congress, and he addressed the debt limit or debt ceiling. And if you have taken a few moments to read this letter, it is like a third grader talking to another third grader. He talks in circles, he repeats himself over and over and over, and he could have summed up the 4-page letter in about 3 sentences. Okay? So that must beg you to investigate and look into the letter further. What does it say? What are the key words that he's using? As Lindsey Williams says, what are the buzzwords that they're using? Well, I'll tell you what. He used default roughly about 14 times. He used debt limit about 19 times. I mean, just from that instance, I've got to pull those words out and say, okay, what is he talking about? Default, debt limit. Remember, the Congress I'm taking as a representation of a funeral. Okay? So we got funeral, default, debt limit. Those are our vocabulary words. Those are our buzzwords right now. Then, to top it off, Austin Goolsbee on the 2nd of January mimics Geithner's letter prior to Geithner even writing it. What does he say? He uses the same type of Got to get my notes. He uses the same type of language. I mean, he uses debt ceiling like 6 times. He uses default like 4 times. He's nervous as heck when he's talking to the interviewer. And you wonder, why are these people, why are they freaking out? I mean, to raise the debt ceiling, this country's $200 trillion in the hole. Plus or minus a couple of million. So what's another, trillion. So what's another half a trillion? If you're looking at this large sum of debt. It's nothing. Well, then why are they freaking out? Why are they doing these things? Well, this is what I think they're trying to communicate, okay? Because the words that they're using, funeral I've taken from the reading of the Constitution, and then we've got default, debt limit, debt ceiling being repeated over and over and over and over and over. Hello? What are they trying to say? I believe they're trying to say the dollar is cooked. The dollar is over. We don't have any more money. There's nothing else we can get from the international community. So we got to print our way out of it. Which, what is that going to do? It's going to kill the dollar anyhow. I think it was a funeral. I think it was a ritualistic event to celebrate for them or ritualize the death of the dollar. The coming death of the dollar. Because they know what's on the table. They know what's coming down. 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, way before the general public does. So you need to look at these actions. You need to look at what they're trying to say to you. Look at the underlying theme. I think they're saying bye-bye to the dollar. Okay, guys? Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening.